Hello, everyone, and a very, very warm welcome to Powerful Conversations that change us, that change you, that change me, because change that happens in the world has to begin within each one of us. Today, my guest is Swati Garg, an absolute bowl of energy that's infectious. You can see that from her smile that's probably infecting you as well. And if each and every one of you thought that over the last year we've all had our fair share of trials and tribulations with COVID, here is a lady who can show you that she has been through a lot more than her fair share. And she has gone through it with such positivity that it's almost unreal and difficult to believe and take hold of. Swati today has beaten and overcome, yes, the C word, cancer. And she's done that with such aplomb. Let's try and find out a little bit about how real is her positivity, and is it even humanly possible to keep up such high levels of positivity through times of trouble? Because when we are able to do that, that's when our immune system works best for us in our favor. So let's learn some tools from my guest today. Warmest welcome, Swati. I'm just so delighted that our phone conversations, which have been such a burst of inspiration and joy for me, today are translating into a conversation that we can share with the world at large. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Like, so much.
It's my joy. So, Swati, you've been through a bit of a journey last year, and I can see how much you have learned from it. And you've literally shown, the adage of how suffering or pain or difficulty can make us better and not bitter if we choose that. All your posts on social media, they're all so positive. Going through cancer treatment is not easy by any standards. The radiation you talk about, the chemo, the surgery, and yet you've been all out, unadulterated positive. How is this possible? Were you really able to be so positive throughout?
So, Priya, of course, getting chemo done, getting radiation, or even like going for the surgery is not an easy decision, right? It's like you're going to go there and something is going to happen to you, which will not be the best state where you will be in. But I think if you think so much about the negative things that will happen to you later, you will not think about the positive things which are going to happen to you if you're going to go through it, right? So if I had not gone for the surgery, the lump would have turned into like grade 3, 4, 5, led to death. If I did not go for chemotherapy, the cancer would have relapsed. So I think we need to just look into what is more positive. Of course, the journey might not be very simple. There might be little things coming in your way which will break you down. But there has to be a time where you're like, okay, this doesn't need my attention right now. This needs my attention. And I will give my 100% to this subject. So I think this is what kept me going. This is what motivated me. And here I am where I am. Yeah.
You spoke about we all have times in the journey where we break down. Did you have times when you broke down, and how did you come out of it stronger if you did?
So, while my journey, I never broke down. I didn't let anything impact me at all. Like, if
One.
I not once while my journey. So, if there was something I felt that, oh, a red flag is being waved at me, or this is a danger zone, I told myself that, Swati, back out right now. Okay. So, like a small instance, I think week 3 after chemo, there was this huge patch of hair which just like came into my hand, and I was like, what did this happen? And throughout my journey, like after chemo, I told myself that, oh, my hair will not fall. Though I kept doing positive affirmations, but then week 3, I saw this huge hair fall. And I was like, shit. So I was like, maybe more will not fall. again, you're sleeping, hair is falling, you're touching, hair is falling. So at that point of time, I told myself I will shave it off, because I don't need to see my hair fall every day. This doesn't need to impact on what I'm going through. This will grow back. Similarly, everything, whatever you give back, like give away, will come back to you if it has to come back to you, right? And this is like hair growth. So I will not let it affect me. So that's the only moment I told myself. So this is how I used to actually block myself. If things used to come my way to irritate me, I would be like, back off, I am stronger than you.
Wow. So you were actually somebody who has been able to make your mind obey yourself, which is what we all um, often struggle with. And we're trying to get to that point. Um, at any point in the journey, or before or during, was there anything that happened, or, that you had to endure emotionally? And how did you then keep that out from affecting your positive frame of mind?
So, so I was diagnosed with. So I had my operation on the end of August, and early August, there was this. I was into this relationship where the guy was like, I need to get married to somebody else. My parent is not allowing me, and we need to part ways. And that's when I completely broke down. Of course, love makes you break down, right? Love makes you do the stupidest things in the planet. So at that time, I was like, of course it took me a couple of days to like understand that why did it happen to me. But then slowly I knew that I had to pay attention to what will happen. I needed to go through a very big surgery, and I went through a surgery, and post the surgery we happened to get in touch again, where I told him I've been tested positive for cancer. And he's like, oh, it's really late in life, like it's really late for me to do something about it now. And hearing something like that, you're like, wait, either, it just made me so strong. It made me, I just told myself that I don't need anybody to add any drama to my life, right? Like, I should be the one adding drama to my doctor's life. Nobody could add drama to my life right now. So I just completely blocked myself out. Like, I completely eliminated the toxic relationship I was in. I shut myself from it. I told myself I need to look into more smaller things in life. I need to look at people who are actually calling me every day and checking on me, whether they are people who I've not been in touch ever with, or they are people like my family also. Or my Bade Tauji, we used to talk like once a year. And during my last treatment, we spoken like every day, like the 9:20, I used to see Tauji calling. So I think we need to take a moment to actually understand, do we really want this? And or do we really want things which are coming to your way and you are blocking it? So yeah, I just
So heartbreak at the best of times can be something that depletes us, traumatizes us. It can break our self-esteem in very tragic and serious ways, and then it takes a long time to build yourself back up. And you've had this happen at the eve of something seriously eventful in your life. So it seems to me that one of the tools that you've used and that you're sharing with us is focus your energies, or work to channelize your energies on those things that are bringing you motivation, encouragement, joy, that are lifting you. So you focused on those friends who reconnected with you, on family who were giving you that lift, whereas someone who you recognized was actually not receiving the love that you were giving.
yeah.
And that can be a very, very sort of life energy depleting way. So the moment you decided, I'm not going to continue giving my love where it's not received, receiving love is as powerful, or if not more powerful, than even giving it. And you redirected that energy towards your healing, your self care, your self love, and those around you. That seems to have worked phenomenally in your favor. But to have this wisdom at such a young age, and to be able to implement it, we all have the wisdom, but
Absolutely.
implementation of it, Swati, you are really truly a rock star.
So that's what they say, that any sort of journey like this really changes your life. There are two aspects to it: the positive aspect and the negative aspect. It's how you want to take hold of your journey. It's how you, if do you want to let the positive remote control you or the negative remote control you. So that's where I damaged the negative remote. I took out the batteries, I chucked it out, and I recharged and charged my positive control. And I only let that take over me completely, mentally and physically.
And how did you manage to stay so focused and not deviate and go back to the negative remote in some way when brain processes, especially when you are under a cocktail of medication and drugs, and that also plays its role on physical, emotional health. How were you, any tools that you can share with us at that time if you did have a negative thought, or a thought of, I don't know, self pity about your heartbreak, or missing that person, or certain memories you had with that person? What was that journey like?
So even like when I used to come back from a chemotherapy, I used to come back and throw up, okay? And throwing up is not easy after chemo. So I used to keep telling myself that, Swati, this is your worst hangover. You are vomiting because you're drunk. And you will never be in this state ever again, okay? So it's just the outlook. Telling myself that I went through chemotherapy and this is tough versus telling myself that this is cocktails and you're drunk and you're having a hangover is just a perspective, right? And other things, what I did was I just channeled every, like all the energy I have in smallest to smallest things. So like I used to plant trees, I used to water my plants every day, I used to paint, I used to watch Netflix. There have been days I did not want to touch my phone because the light was irritating me. So I went back to seeing a book. I went back. So whatever was not attracting me, I gave it time. Whatever was attracting me, I went there. So I'd never let my mind be empty, because that's where they say that it becomes a devil's workshop and you start thinking about all these shitty things you want to think. So I was like, fine, I will think everything positive. So also I'll tell you, so I had COVID before getting detected to cancer, right? And that point of time, I lost my smell and taste. So it's till date where only 60% of my smell and taste buds are working, right? So what I kept telling myself is that, how lucky are you that your smell and taste was not working during chemo? Because every time you vomited, it was a cakewalk for you, right? Because it could have been like 100 times more bad for you. So I think you just highlight things in another way. You look at things in different perspective, and life will change for you.
In such a short chat, you have so powerfully demonstrated how most of the quality of our life, if not all, is determined by perspective, and how we choose to narrate our story back to ourselves about what's happening to us. This is such a powerful conversation. And how are you now adjusting to the newfound celebrity that you are, inspiring us all?
So it's really nice when people slide into my DMs and tell me how I'm motivating people. It's really nice when people ask me for motivation to help them talk about their journey, because in India, very few people talk about their cancer journey because it's a big taboo. And especially girls, if they're not married. Like there was a girl who messaged me saying that, my husband, like I was supposed to get married and the guy never wanted to get married to me because I was detected with cancer. So my whole thing is that why is it such a big taboo? It's not the end of the world, right? There is so much more to it. And life has been really good for me because I've really changed. I have evolved. My perspective to things have changed. I've become very strong emotionally. I have cut out a lot of toxic relationships I did not want in my life. So you choose what you want to stay with. And I chose what I want myself to stay with. Yeah.
Wonderful, Swati. And we were also chatting about, which I wanted to share with everyone at large, about how you were interviewed by a fellow cancer survivor, and then what happened to that.
So I was introduced to a fellow survivor who recorded my first podcast. And she was a cancer survivor, one of the rare cancer cases. But every time she came out of her relapse, so she was a radio jockey, and she lost her voice because of cancer. So life really took a toll on her, right? But she worked on it. She got her voice back. She started recording podcasts again. And there was so much of energy in our conversation. She telling me how she struggled life. So she told me something like, Swati, for me, love was when my husband used to take me to Apollo every day for my radiation. For me, love was him sitting next to me for chemotherapy. And it was such a different perspective for me for the word love, right? and she happened to pass away like very recently. So what I really learned from her is that you need to act upon what you want immediately. If you want to act upon talking to the world about your journey, motivating more people, you need to act upon it now. That kal kisne dekha, they say, right? So always live today, live now, live the moment.
Life is precious and we can't take it for granted. We are a precious gift. You are a very precious gift,
Absolutely.
very precious gift to having you on this conversation with me. I'm just inspired and in complete gratitude. And may your tribe multiply and may you infect many others, Swati. And here's to our friendship too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you. And I really hope I inspired like so many more people through your platform. So yeah, thank you so much.
And each viewer. Lots of love, light, gratitude, and peace.
Thank you.